Hello and welcome. Today is the 15th day of May 2020. My name is Derek and this is the Money Charts channel. All bets, trades of the like, well, that's within each's own risk and their own reward. We'll take a look at silver against the dollar, Bitcoin against the dollar, and Theta against the Bitcoin. Alrighty, silver, and it has been spinning the past several days. I guess you can say showing strength amongst the 18 average of highs, or at least for four consecutive sessions, 4 consecutive days, supporting the lows in around 15 and a third. Meanwhile, establishing a level of resistance a little bit below the key Fibonacci, basically a penny, or excuse me, 7 pennies below this level of resistance, or I guess you could say one of the rare pierces below, albeit not really, given that there was a pierce above on a hit on the April 14 session. But clearly we have, starting within yesterday's move on the 14th and following through today, a breakout up 2.4% right now against that. And this is the spot price. I've talked recently a decent amount about the premiums. And we're looking at large premiums, 50+% being very, very common. But as it goes, the chart pattern in here shows that from this high to this low, it breezed past up north of the 38.2. It did resist it on one given day, which was March the 20th. And just by looking at that, you can see that it, well, with a high, the intra-move high was practically 12 even. Or excuse me, 13 even. High 13.013. The low is 12 even. And yet, that's the exact number here. And then it closed at 1261, so it had at least a 40-cent pullback minimum just by looking at that, at least a 3% move. And technically, you can even give it a benefit of the doubt. Well, it came down the next session at 1227, so obviously that probably happened down to here and then back up, breaking above, which of course the next day on the 23rd it did so, not resisting the next key Fibonacci level. This was a 23.6. This next being was a 38.2%. It supported it rather than resisting it. And then on the break, clear, concise, move to next level, check mark. As it does so on April the 14th, pretty much an exact hit for the most part. The high was 1529. It's high is 1584, excuse me. Yep. Not really, it was a pierce above. Very good, successful correctionary move in here. And that's why I like to state, like, oh, showing strength amongst the 18 average of highs. Short term, using the hourly term, major noticeable sideways consolidation, multiple resistance and support hits. And on the first attempt in breaking north above the established resistance, which had started its move yesterday morning at 9 a.m., it has been successful, very good leg up higher. And then correctionary phase yesterday afternoon from the 2 p.m. Eastern, 1400 hours, pretty much to the end of the night. Then 2100 hours last night, 9 p.m., having a big move. And it's doing very well so far within its intraday move on the follow-through. 5:30 a.m., very early still in the day. And let's take a look at this on some longer-term time frames. Again, daily chart is showing very good bullish pattern. So because it's in the early breakout stage, I wouldn't be surprised if in today's session, if it even gets up to and even maybe even into 17 per ounce. Today is that of a Friday, and oftentimes, especially if there's a good bullish setup like this, or any kind of bullish setup for that matter, if it's a Friday, I've seen have some very good green candle days when the day is done. Not guaranteeing anything, I just like the probability odds. Now let's transition on to Bitcoin, which is in at that of 9,628. I drew in a few lines in here recently. And overall, the market from the highs has managed to pull back. And then just a significantly outstanding rally, given that it's pretty much very close to that of 100% retracement from this high to this low. And pretty much is piercing below and getting above this level that was the key level that, of course, it did resist on so many fronts that I'll be looking at previous high, 12,000 change, up to 13,000 change. But as it goes on the short term, Well, first of all, before that, after the 18 average of lows as supported here on the daily, 1, 2, 3 consecutive greens up to exceed the 18 average of highs. And in today's session, even coming back to support it, which means quite a bit, actually. We take a look at this next on a single hour. And I did the videos back in here. It was one of the two-part video, actually, with last call, as I do believe there's a damn good chance that both cryptocurrencies and precious metals are going to have very good moves in the pretty much near term. But it did resist after major resistance at this Fibonacci level, which is a 38.2% mark from this high to this low. It resisted it, correctionary phase successful, and then actually more shorter term resistance and more shorter term correctionary phase. Big move. Did it have a concise, fast move to next level? Like a clear, concise move. More times fast, I should state. Yes. And then we resisted it. And then I didn't put the line in. But it was either 97 or 98, either way. It was a 76.4% Fibonacci mark. And once it broke past north here on the 1 a.m. stamp, 14 day, continuous, every period green up in a row until it managed to get to this high. And now I'm even seeing this short-term correction coming back to where we came from. Anytime you entangle a level of resistance or support, and then you have a clear break away from it, and then you have a counter trend rally back, that's an area I'm looking for to be the opposite. So resistance, clear break. Now I'm looking at any move to be the opposite. Ooh, there's that move here. How has it reacted after the fact? Well, so far, it had a small rally, but just a bit below the lows, but has since in here managed to, from holding this low to this low, had a good move to the highs, enough to neutralize what was starting to be barely turning negative 18. That this means that holding this general 18 low area short term on this time frame becomes important. It doesn't have to hit exactly the low, but it can go down to like 94.70, same area, general area. Does it hold and stay above it? Question mark, and you work towards finding it. And then when I'm looking for this thing ready to go in bullish behaviors, it's never going to look bullish until it can have at least something above the 18 average of highs. So it's got to at least get above 97.50 right now amongst this term time frame. As I'm looking at this, but very, very productive states, let's finish this off with Theta. And we'll do so in its cross against Bitcoin. I'm looking at the Huobi exchange, just because it's got a bit more data. And I'm multiplying it by 100 million simply to get a better logarithmic chart. Okay, we are seeing a fantastic move from this low, April the 19th, 1100, pretty much doubling for the most part, relatively close, at least against Bitcoin. This line does not represent any Fibonacci. It's just been a big level, as we'll be seeing when we look at multiple time frames. Although it probably could represent some, but anyway. From this leg higher, we see this correctionary phase in here, several days, and then a significant up move on May the 12th of 24%, and it's corrected that move. And of course, it went up higher to about 2060. Has pulled recently back down to 1682, and that's just recently back as in today's session, coming back to this level of resistance where it came from. Just looking at a quick short term, we can see in here, there's this recent pullback, this level of resistance. It started this at like 4th day of May. It got out of it on the 11th day of May. That was 1 week of resistance, and it supported it in a matter of a good portion of a day instead. As we can see in the hourly time frame, this thing has been after this low has been getting going from this break of the 18 average of highs, and it's been a nice clear break since, starting at 8 p.m. last night, or 20 hours. Okay, so then we can see it's leaving the 18 average of highs within the continuation move of this bull market. On the 3-day, it has managed to, of course, hang on, really stay or resist this big level, but after this, we're talking about this 5,000 mark here. And this 1400 mark is 13, we can see, just represents support. It's been a big level. And when it comes down to it, what kind of moves has it had north of the 2K? Well, its origins were there, in here. A Pierce try here, not so much. The Binance open, yeah, that happened, and then the decline. November 30th, this didn't happen too long. And it got up to 3,600. It got up to here on Binance. Yet here it did not. Same thing here as far as this got up to like 4,400. And I don't know why this is so low because it was like 5,000 that it got up to on Binance here. But that was the next attempt breaking north of 2. It's not really an attempt here, but obviously not holding that must-hold area. Big move after that, where it resisted this fact for quite some time now, of course, leaving that resistance here. And the fact that you're supporting this and this, said before, you got to give the benefit of the doubt that this could give some interesting moves. And it's in the situation where coming and testing some of these areas is a key thing, becoming a probability. And then what's the, how good of a play could it have, if it's going to have a play? Because where are the expectations for reaching? One is where I'm stating, a good move, lower high. 3 levels at this high. And that would be lower. Number 2 would be a meet around. Pierce below, pierce above, or exact hit of this mark. Call it 5,000. And then after that is uncharted territory. And if that's the case, how far north in uncharted? Small pierce above, like 7,000, 8,000. Does it have a decent move? 10,000, 11,000? A decent move, and you figure, yeah, decent, because it's only decent. If it's breaking 5 going to 11, that's like barely 2x. Meh, that's good. Oh, okay, decent. But if it goes 18, 24, especially anything higher, wow, what a spectacular play or spectacular move when you look at it from its long-term time frame of where a significant key leg is going to reach. And finishing this off just on the monthly time frame, I have no data really. But with the data that I have, I still can see that from it, the leaving in this upper area, that it has managed to successfully, well, so far successfully correct within this move. Holding and staying above the 18 average of lows when it's established support, well, obviously south of this level here. Resisting it here. The comeback. The attempt last month to leave, and the attempt to leave was successful, and thus such in this month, it's early in the morning, it's like 5:49. KBO Fantasy Baseball's got me up really early, and therefore, and it starts at 5:30. So once everything was done, that's okay. Let's just do a video. That's why I did it. That's why I started making it at that time. Anyway, it has managed to get above this high, leaving above the 18 averages, so above this high, above this high. And in a situation like this, I know if you have a whole bunch of stuff before, regardless of the fact, when you see that it leaves this, that this could be weak resistance and having any kind of potential moves that I move, you can see up here, move to 18,000 is like, yeah, that's pretty good. But a move up to here, like 7, 8, that's the 3 little bears I talk about, small, larger, just right. Usually the moves aren't small. If they are, oftentimes it's just to get a pierce resistance above, or it could be a very nasty failed breakout. Because normally, again, the move would be at least somewhere around here, 10, 11 you'd be looking at. And then again, if you look at it from something like on this size, that looks like a normal size, and you could be looking at something like this at 50. So the benefit of, or the potential and the benefit of the doubt to where I think something like this can go to, I think could be just that of phenomenal. But it's just something to look out for today. And as we move into the next following week, because Theta, of course, is doing well. It's doing so, I think, in an individual base, not in a dartboard setting or everything together where everything all goes up together or whatever. Right now, most other coins against Bitcoin are not only not going up, but actually most of them are actually been in a negative slide the last several days. Thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.